and welcome to Jab We Met. I'm currently at the DLF golf course, and on the show today I'll be speaking to the legend who literally built the city of Gurugram. KP Singh has a new book out. It's about his life journey, and on the show we'll be talking about the triumphs, the tribulations of the man, the legend KP Singh. Kaptan Sahab, welcome to Jab We Met.
Thank you very much.
Lovely
Rahul.
to have you with us.
Good to know that you are playing golf.
It's great to join you for a few holes and to speak about the city that you've built, what went right, what went wrong, and the lessons that you've learned in this life. Let's get started.
Okay, sure. Come, would you like to hit?
You start, sir.
Oh, what a shot. You are a champ, my dear
So
friend.
hardly. I play tennis and squash. Golf's not my jam.
Cricket, tennis, squash. It's called hand-eye coordination. Some people can play, some people just can't connect. You connect well.
That's very kind of you. Thank you. Sir, when you built this golf course and when you literally came up with the blueprint for what you imagined Gurugram to be, there was nothing like this. Where this vision came from? Because now in India there are several places which have tried to build something similar.
Actually, as you know, my life was not real estate. I've written this book. I was in the army, cavalry, and then I joined a manufacturing company, electric motor storage battery. I accidentally got involved and persuaded my family to revive DLF. Why revive? Because DLF became a closed entity in 1958. A law came which almost threw out the private sector from the game of urban land development. So they said, no, private sector is out, only public sector will do. Including the entire planning process became confined to public sector. That's how DDA and all came. Now, perhaps it may have been good intention at that time, but it created the biggest havoc in the country because the demand was so much. Even now, the defect in master planning, because they don't have vision. I say, when you think city, think 100 years ahead. Soon after independence, everything was shortage. So they made it, think small, manage shortages. Now if you think small in urban infrastructure, then your roads are narrow, your apartments are small, water supply is limited. But not realizing is democracy, entrepreneurs. As they grow, the demand is huge.
Where do you think Gurugram and the model of the knowledge city went wrong? You know, what is right everyone can see. What would you have liked to do differently? And what are the lessons you've learned which you think are very important for everyone watching at this time to keep in mind as they plan the urbanization of India?
First, in urbanization, always think big. Create surpluses. Why? Because it's entrepreneurs. India is a democracy. Look at today, we are becoming third largest country in the world. When growth takes place, you need corresponding urban infrastructure. So therefore, the thinking small, myopic was a completely wrong thing. Now they have to open up to think big. Why 12-meter road? Why not 38, 40 meters? Water supply is limited. Why not more? Why not take care of the drainage? Everything has to be thought through in a way, and then why somebody says, oh, it's too surplus. No, maybe for 10, 15 years surplus, but it'll catch up later on. And please understand, mistakes made in industrial manufacturing can be corrected by throwing the machines out, new technology. Urbanization, once mistakes made, cannot ever be corrected because you lay the roads, houses have come up, you want to correct it, how the hell do you correct it? You can't demolish the house, it's impossible. This is what happened to India today. My exposure, fortunately, earlier in England, then I was blessed with meeting Americans and then GE board. So it gave me a different exposure. And question, if world can do, why can't India do? Why can't India do? So I embarked on a mission. I must advocate hard, use media, everybody, to convince before the government that the policy we take in 58 needs reversal. And that's what happened in 80. I met accidentally Rajiv Gandhi, who played a major role. He said, yes, make a new. That's how the Gurugram city came around. But this was not what we planned, by the way. No. They were visionary, the team, right? Singh. They said, we want a green city to be made here for every section of society, not only rich. So issue was this. Then I took it upon myself. I'm a learner. So I said, okay, I'll go abroad. Went to South Korea, Malaysia, Hong Kong, Singapore. I want to understand what these guys are doing. So I came back, I gave a proposal, was let me connect Delhi with a 16-lane highway. I will make this highway at my cost and hand it over to the government free of cost. In lieu of thereof, allow me to do the entire planning of Gurugram, which they agreed. But alas, what happened was he went, a new government came in, Mr. Bansilal. He was hell-bent on, he was against private sector in the urban land business. So he brought into same antiquated norms, back to square one. If you see in phase 5, we call it, we are walking. Now this fortunately is a replica of what the whole Gurugram was supposed to be. I never gave up. Fortunately, I found Haryana government's successive chief ministers were very responsive. I demonstrated to them that this will change the face of Haryana. They agreed, said try. This is a forerunner, become example for other states to follow.
Correct.
So somebody has to take one lead, others follow.
As you look at how Gurugram and urban India is shaping up, is A, haphazard planning, B, unauthorized colonies, C, lack of water. How do you think India as a country should be addressing these key challenges?
Basically, everything emanates from planning. We have got some very fine bureaucrats in the country, but if you have them for 3 years and then transfer to another job, the guy would not be able to understand what a vision means. Visionaries are those who have the capability of thinking how a democratic country in India will grow 20, 30, 50, 40, 100 years ahead. It is a vision. So if for this planning, if they want, they should be selected the best men in the country on selection basis and put in a blend of visionary private sector people. Together they make a plan, not the way it is being made today.
Wow. So as one sees you play golf, it is almost inconceivable to imagine that you're in your mid-90s. So much energy at this age. I mean, you're an inspiration for any person. I mean, if anybody who's watching is as active as you are in your 90s, I mean, hats off.
And considering my game has improved.
How come?
It is passion for life. My late wife died. We were deeply in love. In my late wife and myself, 65 years married life. What do you do? One gone. I said, no, I must make my life again. So I got into sports. Oh,
Wow. You drive with your right hand but putt with your left.
Oh, what a putt, what a putt.
So I want to come back again to the challenge of water scarcity. In a place like Gurugram and in a country like ours, that's one of the biggest issues. As you build these high rises, I mean, the charge that would be leveled is that these tall multi-story buildings simply don't account for the demands on water and the availability of water. How would you address that?
We have addressed it, perhaps we are the only company. We are very conscious of this fact, and therefore, would you believe, we have surplus water throughout, because what we do, that all the buildings, this was a vision in ahead, all the buildings which people live, then you do sewage treatment. Now we have got ultra efficient and state-of-the-art sewage plants here. So what happens is, in the sewage plants, now the populations come to size that with the treatment plant, it not only supplies water for the everything here, it is surplus. and more people live, more surplus. So we will be supplying to others actually. So we don't tap any tube well, no groundwater. It is a classic thing. So the whole thing is that we are even ahead of what is requirement to see that you should not tap the already depleted water resources. Rather, you should augment the level. So we went upon an idea some time back when we conceived this thing. We'll do differently. Normally, what happens is the garbage goes to government and they do treatment. We said no, you do, but we take over. So we have everything, as you see, all things is internal water supply, not one thing from outside. We invest very hugely into all these requirements to always remain ahead of the curve. And this was sort of envisaged by us that as we grow, water shortage is bound to come.
You brought us to a hole which is surrounded by water on all sides.
But you got then a drop zone.
Oh my God, that is amazing. What I find fascinating, Mr. Singh, as I read your book, was the fact that even when you were essentially just a countryside boy and when you went to the UK to study aeronautical engineering, you were able to network with and make friends with people who are far above your station in life at that time. I think there are some lessons for people who are watching and listening to you to learn. You know, you're amongst the best networked people now because of your stature, but even when you weren't who you are now, you had this fascinating ability. What did you learn? What can you teach?
The most success in life comes from a relationship. You can be individually brilliant, you don't succeed. So some people have in them, some people don't have in them. You have to have a personality pleasing, which is easy to interact with people. Fortunately, me and my late wife, both we had. So you are right, absolutely. Down from my day one, maybe my stint in England, playing polo, that gave me a different thing. But I'm very comfortable in developing friends. And my success of life is quite a lot because of the large people around the world who are my good friends. Keep looking at the ball. Oh, what a shot.
Sir, you know, you're so much about living your life, no matter what your age may be. And I think there's a lesson for everyone in that. You know, how do you keep your spirits so high at a time when, as you write in your book, all your contemporaries are either long gone or not in a position to be able to play golf and get the ball on the island green?
I believe very strongly that if you remain positive in outlook, right from day one, I never see the dark side. So positivity in your life, and secondly, you want to do better than yesterday, better than the best. So it is like a passion for doing something good in your life. And I do believe myself, I'm a great learner, by the way. I learn from others. So throughout my life, I've learned everything and then acted. I never acted just for the heck of it. So that, along with good friendship and positivity, is my view the essence of life.
So many of your years was spent taking care of your late wife, Indira.
Yes.
And that really struck me as very touching, the fact that, you know, she had so many multiple health conditions and yet you completely refused to give up.
Frankly, she had, as you know, saw this helicopter accident. Then she got what they call MRSA, which is the most hospital-acquired infection, most deadly infection. Both happened. So I was told, because for MRSA there had to be very strong medicine. Offset was she developed small cell lung cancer. So one thing led to the other. So I found every doctor had their own view. So I decided, I learned everything about medicine. And I said, docs, I consult every doctor, but decision I will take. I said, I'll indemnify all of you. Whoever wants, I say, indemnify. But decision is mine. Because every time it is a matter of this doctor will say this doctor will say this. I use my common sense and thank God I succeeded. What others said that she will live only for a few days, she lived 16 years. So it was my devotion to a cause. And by the way, the same thing applies to my business thing. If I get involved in something, I go very deep dive into it. And then see how, where, what it is. So when I started Gurugram, I did a very deep dive and I found, oh my God, everything, laws are against you, banks will not finance you, how the hell do you land, everything antiquated. And besides that, the image of builders was very wrong. It's an uphill task. So I said, no, we will succeed. And it was a big job, but frankly, God's blessing, we have what you see today.
So one of the things you write about and seem making an important point is the fact that once your wife passed away, you took a partner much younger than you, and you think that that's a lesson for others as well. Instead of living in solitude in your old age, to go out and continue living a full life. Explain your mental makeup during that.
See, in my book I've covered this subject quite a lot. You see, in life, you know, when you're born, one day you have to die, everybody dies. The most wishful thinking is, if you're married and successfully, happily married, then when both go together. Because there is no better thing than it. And particularly when, you know, in my case, we're 65 years, we're married. And my wife, Indra, was my love of my life. She's gone, it's now memory. Only memory remains. I don't believe in soul, all this jigmang. God gives you one life. Second life, you don't know what the hell you are born, what it is. So issue became around was, what do I do? Like others, watch TV, alone, alcoholic. 2 years die. I said, no. Because I'm optimistic. I said, I'll make my life again. And I'll be positive. And I was lucky I met a very wonderful lady. I told her, I said, you learn golf. She learned golf now. We play golf together. Social life she arranges for me. So what happens is, my essence of my life, remain active, socially relevant.
But you also write about how your children were initially apprehensive because she's much younger, and you know the lesson, how did you deal with that, and the lesson for other people who may find themselves in a similar position like yours?
When babies are born, it's parents who bring them up. Life changes. When you become old, whom do you need in your life? Children. So if the children don't realize that the longevity of a father is involved with not alcohol, TV, but with something what he is used to, means social, active. So I would say, frankly, I would say to everyone, it's very sad for children not to realize that. I don't believe of any house anywhere in the world where from first day is hunky-dory, no. First day is always a reaction. So it's all right now it's okay. But I take decision in my life my way. I don't give it to anybody else. Line with all.
You know exactly how each of the greens will roll because this is after all your own golf course.
Very good putt. My God.
One of the regrets I pick up in your book is that you write that because you had such an active, hectic corporate life in your younger days, you feel you didn't get to spend as much time as you wanted with your children?
Yeah. This is my regret. I tell you why my regret. Society has changed. In our old days, it was not what parents do to children now. Would you believe in my old days, I hardly had conversation with my father. He only used to ask me, what happened to hockey, what happened to this, what happened to this. But there's nothing called spending holidays and things together, no, nothing. Frankly, I got so deeply involved, you see, but 24/7 I was involved in DLF. But that does not mean that I should not have devoted time. That is my regret. Failing, I didn't realize. I realize now how important it is to have a kind of relationship, understanding when you grow with children together. So this is that's why I say regret. And my advice to everyone is, spend time with children, spend holidays with children, because when they are growing up, there is a relationship. Oh, well, you got a damn good putt. I can tell you, you're stroking.
Kaptan Sahab, so many people, whether it's say the Sahara Group, Lavasa, JP, they all tried to build something similar in scale and scope to what you've done, but they couldn't succeed. Why do you think they failed and you succeeded?
You see, city planning needs vision. You start small, but eventually you know the certain volume it has to be. So my biggest problem here was, how do I get land? Where the hell do I get land? Because it's all fragmented, thousands of acres. So for their persistent, whereas in Lavasa and Sahara people, they just bought some land. And that does not finish there, because it's very small. Then you got to think through what will it take for it to be a successful habitation, making everything possible requirement. It's a long issue. We started in 80s, today how many years? So today is a success story, because I envisaged at that time, you need great offices, great thing. And by the way, Medanta was, I persuaded, Medanta coming, medical bed per capita is the highest in Gurugram than any city. All beautiful hospitals, schools, all these had to be organized to be near the habitation. If you don't take care of this thing, people will just like going to farmhouse and come back. It's not farmhouse, it is a total habitation here. So foresight, vision, courage. It took me almost 12 years by persistent, every family of farmers going on and on. You had to do it, because you see, otherwise land you cannot purchase. So this was my vision and my outline, eventually what will succeed, and this is what will happen.
We're currently at what's called the Grand Canyon, yes. And you're bringing us to the most complex holes in the entire course, Kaptan Sahab.
But I can tell you, most people, look, you get scared. Oh my God, you'll go this side, you'll go this side, you'll go this side.
Very kind. Unless it's with a really big builder like a DLF, the fact is that doing a completely clean, white transaction in the Indian real estate sector is still very, very difficult. Do you think that will change? What can be done to try and change that?
It has dramatically changed, and I have great pride in saying I remain 100% compliant of all the laws. I started with NRI sales firstly, then it came around. So today I'll be surprised if in the main sales, there will be cash. But what happens in the second sales, dealers do that, which is less, hell of a lot come down. But I brought this company up not based on cash, based on ethics, moral value, and compliance to laws. By the way, let me explain to you this. So what happened when they were doing this thing? I said, what the hell is happening? They said, oh, this road is wrong. So he said, no, my friend, it is to give a feel. When you go to canyon or somewhere, you don't find regulated water here. So it is just like give a feel of the water going around. So this has been designed road below always.
So there will always be some water there.
Yes, always water.
A lot of Indian business head honchos, typically while they're alive, are very wary of bequeathing their wealth and their assets to their children. You know, while you're fully active, you've given up control of your company, most of your assets to your children. You think that's a lesson for others. Why did you take that? Because it tends to make a lot of heads of Indian families very insecure.
I would not say that everybody should follow what I did, but I believed in myself, how I did about. Firstly, my late wife was alive at that time, so I thought what do we need in our life to live lavishly? I made money, pay taxes, highly compliant man, and what is residual I spend. So when you do that, the issue comes around is, what do you need moving forward in the autumn of your life? And it came out very clearly to me that autumn of my life, I want to live the same way as I'm living now, maybe even better. Then next came to me, how do I take care of the family? Most advisors, everybody said, wrong, Mr. Singh, you're doing. मैंने कहा करना तो मुझको तो करना ही है. They said, I had to keep some share for me. I said, no, I kept 1%, only 1%. It's up to children to look after me. If they don't look after, मैं अकेला ही आदमी चलता हूँ. देखिए ये तो गॉड का चीज़ है. मैंने अपना किया जो मैं समझता हूँ करेक्ट. And I'm happy. If children don't do it, मैं कुछ नहीं कहता. They look after me quite well. They are very good to me. But as time over, who knows? Who doesn't know? Then God takes care of them. I believe in this one philosophy.
Karma.
मैं I defied everybody. So I would not say everybody should defy. बाबा अपनी तरफ आप खुद करिए. लेकिन हाँ ये ज़रूरी है कि आपका ऑटम में ये प्लान करना चाहिए कि आपको चाहिए क्या.
जितना चाहिए उतना रखो.
उससे थोड़ा 15-20% ज़्यादा रख लो. That's it. बाकी छोड़ो. Give it to.
Come, sir.
You see that those all rocks.
Yes.
There are none. They were all flat. Actually, this area been sold as plotted land. Can you imagine? Plotted land we are sold. When this Orlando I saw.
So you saw golf course in Orlando and then decided to build one.
Before that, this was, we had sold plots here. Development roads and all come around. I was a majority. But when I saw in GE, something first time I saw, frankly, great golf course and big building. So I got the photographs taken. And I said, I must go back. And I persuaded the government. I said, let me do what this means. There were hesitations, but finally they approved. And that meant this, dismantle the whole thing. This is actually is what he was wanting, to put a rock effect. So all the rocks had to be got from Rajasthan.
So you've done so much in your life. What more is left? What more would you like to get done?
No, so many things to tell you as far as India is concerned. I like urban infrastructure should be set right, because I do foresee in future. Growth will happen of India, entrepreneurs take it. But I shudder to think what will happen to urban, the strain on urban infrastructure will be massive. Please relook, revamp, replan again, and then see at least for future. You set it right. Past cannot be corrected easy. The future is correct. What a fine shot! I tell you, this is a perfect shot. For walking, there is a little bridge here.
I also noticed as you were playing a few rounds, Mr. Singh, you are very, very competitive.
Yeah, I am. I'm competitive.
Every shot you are competing.
I don't give up. The thing is, one thing, I don't give up.
Mr. Singh, you've been trying to build the India story for decades, you know, from the time you tried at Rajiv Gandhi's behest to bring Jack Welch into India and GE. Given where India stands at this moment, what's your outlook looking into the future? How have you seen India change and what do you envision in the years and decades to come?
Without development, there is no hope in hell to get taxes, number two, employment to people. How do you get development? Money has to be there somewhere. So money comes only from investors. Entrepreneurs are vital. But in the bargain, rich are becoming richer. They will. Growth means richer. But we have to see that those teeming millions of people who are living before the poverty line, how do we empower them, bring them up? This is the biggest challenge of India. Unorthodox things will have to be thought through by the government to bring that employment up.
But the big charge against captains of industry, Mr. Singh, is that it's not an equal game, that the rules are skewed in favor of the rich, which is why also India is seeing like a K-shaped recovery at this moment. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer.
There is no K or U and E and all that. Fact of the matter is, without investment, development cannot take place. What our government is doing a great job in infrastructure development. Public money has to go into that kind of thing. Only those guys will come to invest who make money. So therefore they will become richer. Question will be, what can we do to see that the millions of people, young people, what can we do to bring them, empower them to come in the main line? And I don't believe any government is successfully doing it unless you think unorthodox way of doing it. Like for example, I'll give you an example. 7th January 90, there used to be a chairman of game park, Disney. So I thought, if I can get Disney in, but Disneyland, would you believe in January 1999, a progressive government of Haryana notified for acquisition 28,000 acres. Would you believe all these acres? A guy called Bob Fitzpatrick came. He said, we would put 50,000 crore, I beg your pardon. At that time, you need more? He said, we'll organize this, no problem. What they need land on lease. So naturally, progressive government acquired. Then hangama like farm laws, the same thing happened, on and on. Finally, government gave in, and they had to denotify. Can you imagine today if that was there, Haryana would have been surplus.
So that was a great part, very nicely done.
Thank you, thank you.
What is fascinating about your journey, Kaptan Sahab, is that you are actually in the Indian Army, and that's where you started out from. Any regrets of not staying back in the army and becoming from Kaptan Sahab, General Sahab?
No regrets. But I learned a lot in the army.
What did you learn in the army?
You see, in army was firstly, a discipline. Normally, people come late and all. Mind you, in dinners, in Delhi, I come late because it's a Punjabi way of doing it. They serve dinner late. So I don't drink very much, so I take one drink. Other than that, if there's an engagement, I'm not on time. Punctuality has brought to me one thing. There's a motto in my company, Himmat-e-marde madad-e-khuda. Means, have courage. Have courage, God will help you. So courage to take decision in life, I got from the army. I never looked back because जो भी हुआ in my life, as you've seen, I've taken a lot of courageous decisions. Several times on the verge of bankruptcy, arrest, but I said no, at it. And God's blessing, but I succeeded.
Most other Indian business people like to maintain this image of being, very hardworking and industrious, whereas you are very open about being flamboyant, work hard, party harder. Is that just the Punjabi way of doing things,
no,
or is that something you're very proud of? Dancing till late into the night?
Very, very, very proud of, and I believe this must be done. Means the following. If you see my book, there's a chapter called Dhaba to Tabela in the night. It meant Tabela is a nightclub. 3-4 times a week. They're fond of dancing. At 12 o'clock I used to leave for Chandigarh in the car. Daughter at 6 in the morning, I was in Dhaba outside Chandigarh. I used to meet Chief Minister, all kind of job. Drive back, then I was talking G subject, very high tech government. In the evening, kurta pajama, I was with farmers, back to 9. I did this for 15 years of my life, day in and day out. What it means is work hard, but also work hard with certain principles. My principle were highest compliance of laws, highest compliance. Number 2, everybody should share the prosperity. Courage to take risks, which I did, I succeeded. So then as you succeed and you play hard, you work hard, you make profits, pay taxes. I'm the most compliant. Once I was honored here as the highest taxpayers in northern India, so by the government. So I pay taxes. But whatever is left over, then enjoy it. You can't leave it for something. I also enjoy. So it is some people call flamboyant. I call it the way to live life. Be compliant. Then also enjoy life. Work hard, make money, pay taxes.
So the real estate sector which you excelled in is also a lot of having to deal with government and bureaucrats and constantly having to deal with laws and regulations. What did you learn about trying to push the legal boundaries, change laws, and who was the toughest political cookie to crack?
Would you believe in my life, by and large, except Bansilalji, who I respect dearly, I respected, and I want to put on record, he was a great Chief Minister of Haryana. But
He troubled you a lot.
Yeah, for a reason. Na?
Party में गुस्सा हो गए.
वो तो एक छोटी सी वो थी. But he had principally, he was against private sector coming into urban land development. He told me several times, छोड़ दे इसको. मैंने कहा मैं क्यों छोड़ूं जी, ये तो करेक्ट चीज़ है कि नहीं, ये गलत चीज़ है. चोरों की, मैं कहा चोरों की तहत है, मैं उनको चोरों की जगह उनको अच्छे लोग बनाऊंगा. तो it carried on for 15-16 years. He kept on issuing warrant arrest against me. Then when his son died in a air crash, I went to Bhiwani. He had 2 heart attacks, he was sitting. First time I know over 1,000 people. Second time I went after 3 weeks. There were 4-5 people sitting around him. अरे भाई तुम तो आए थे पहले भी. मैं ऐसा मैं आपकी इज्जत करता हूँ. फिर उसके ऊपर उन्होंने कहा कि भाई केपी मैंने भी कसर नहीं छोड़ी आपको डंडा लगाने की, और तूने भी ये कसर नहीं छोड़ी अपना सर को नीचे करने के लिए. आज मैं कहता हूँ भगवान को मैं गलत था. केपी आप ठीक थे, आपने ठीक किया, डेवलप किया, एक बात. नंबर दूसरी बात है आपने कभी गलत काम नहीं किया. So my way of working with all the political bureaucrats was with humility. But one thing I will say, by and large, most politicians and bureaucrats I found, if you explain to them nicely that whatever you are asking is not for you, no. You are a byproduct. It is good for the society, good for a common man, good for the country. If you can prove this systematically, other thing follows. So for me, when I got involved, I had to prove it to them that your policy of banning private sector from development in 58 may have been with some intention at that time, but time has indicated that that was a wrong policy. And I had this equation to go to Chief Minister. Fortunately, Bhajanlal was a very progressive man, very, very progressive. So 6 o'clock in the morning, as usual, I'll land up the Chief Minister's residence. Except Bansilal, I had this much privilege to sit with them when they are lying in bed, just got up, first tea with them. क्यों? वो मेरी इज्जत करने लगे. तो मैंने उनसे कहा, चौधरी कहने लगे भाई आज केपी आज क्या लाए हो? मैंने कहा आज मैं एक ऐसी चीज़ बताऊंगा आपको जो आपका स्टेट का भविष्य बदल जाएगा. Then he told his secretary, arrange a meeting at 11:30. Minister, Commissioner Planning, Town Planner, all jig-bang, about 16-70 people, all there. I was alone, and Chief Minister's residence, Chief Minister's office in Haryana on the 4th floor, and with a very large window on this side, very big room here. So she called everyone. अच्छा भाई केपी बताओ इनको सबको. I said मैं कहा देखिए आपके सब लॉज में आप 11th फ्लोर तक करते हो, मुझे चाहिए 30 फ्लोर. तो ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता. क्यों नहीं हो सकता? तो भजनलाल was so intelligent man. इसे भाई हो इनको समझाने दो क्या चाहिए. कि जी मैंने कहा ये आपके लॉज में 11 फ्लोर है, वो गलत है. आप उसको 30 में सब्जेक्ट टू एविएशन एंड ऑल कंडीशन, उसमें आपकी ओपन स्पेस होंगी, देन उसके नॉर्म्स को हमें बनाने दो. तो नहीं हो सकता. तो वन चीफ टाउन प्लानर की नेम वाज चोपड़ा. आई रिटन माई बुक, यू साइन इट. तो क्या साहब ये तो हो सकता है. उन्होंने कहा भाई चोपड़ा साहब क्यों नहीं हो सकता? कि जी बात ये है कि 11 फ्लोर तक एक्सेप्ट कोस्टल टाउन इंडिया में यही परमिट होता है. अच्छा भाई क्यों परमिट होता है? कि जी हम सेफ हैं, अर्थक्वेक हो गया, फायर हो गई, दैट काइंड ऑफ थिंग, 11 फ्लोर तो सेफ है. अच्छा देन ही सेज, अच्छा चोपड़ा साहब आप इधर आ जाओ, ये मेरे राइट में बड़ी विंडो है, मैं 4th फ्लोर पर बैठा हूँ, अब यहाँ से आप कूद जाइए. अगर आपके घोड़े ठीक रहे, मतलब ये तो इसका मतलब केपी सिंह बकवास कर रहे हैं. और अगर आपकी नींद में कुछ चोट आ गई तो 11 इतने ही हैं जैसे 4 हो. इससे जेंटलमैन, फॉर गॉड सेक something he's brought around, heaven would not fall on the earth. Let's try an experiment. I said, make an education, make a knowledge city, make this. So that is on that basis this was allowed, and it took 4 years to master plan changes. My impression of working with bureaucrats and politicians was very good, but you have to explain them things properly, that it is in the national interest or not for you only.
So much of life is just about chance, providence. You know, I read how you were in the fields in Gurugram and Rajiv Gandhi's car got spoilt, and you know, a chance encounter led to you having a connection which made this vision possible. Otherwise, the laws wouldn't allow that. And I see you capitalizing on every opportunity that life throws your way.
Accident of life, like you so-called providence, that's true. My impression was a very visionary man. That's what he wanted, Gurugram to be a green city. And he said, yes, why can't we do this thing? And thereafter what followed was, he only enabled my meetings with Haryana power to be, all the position. And here, Arun Singh, he was the main man who saw into it that it needs regulations, needs allowing people to go vertical. Actually, you see in his interview, we have seen Mrs. Gandhi had entrusted to him. There was a big controversy whether allowed or not allowed this area. Fortunately, they were enlightened people. They said yes, it should be allowed, and enabled my meeting in Haryana. Thereafter, it followed.
What is amazing is how painstakingly, from arranging marriages to for farmers' children to trying to convince them to creating prosperity with them, you dealt with land acquisition in a way very different, because farmers usually get very restless. They don't want to sell their land, that's all they have. And yet you want to ensure that they have enough money for the future rather than blowing it up on lavish cars and, you know, fancy things.
So, you know, I was blessed with a great mentor in my life called George Hoddy. I learned from him, and Jack Welch, both of the people, that go thoroughly, you should have ability to do a deep dive into every subject, which means find out exactly. So when I made a deep dive, how can I buy land? It came out clearly, you may pay any money. You may pay one farmer, the farmer will ask more money, impossible. You have to earn their confidence. So I developed a plan of action, and I was consistent. I knew that it will take me maybe 10 years, which I did. We went thoroughly into each aspect of it. They wanted grooms for their daughters, I arranged it, set up, a colonel sir was in charge, find out where the grooms are within the commutable distance. All kind of things were done. They wanted mechanical farming, some land towards Alwar. I arranged through Pusa Institute for them. Means you become one of them. It takes time. So word went in the farming community that there is one guy called Kaptan Saab who will do anything to make us prosper. That enabled me to have interaction with them. So both put together, and this was quite a lot. Compliments to my late father-in-law, who after independence did this thing. He gave plots to farmers and ensured that they share his prosperity. So I also carried out that whatever I do in my life, whether farmers, whether selling plots, selling apartments, the policies must be such that we share prosperity with me, and that is what the DLF brand is all about.
You've led such a full life. Is there anything else which you haven't done so far which you want to do?
I do wish to tell you honestly, Indian at the top level realize that if you don't attend to urban infrastructure the right way, commensurate with the growth happening, growth will happen. Imagine third largest economy in the world. Today we are fifth or fourth. What is going to mean the infrastructure? All the roads, water supply, drainage, migration of people coming, you need mass transportation. It's a completely different subject. That, in my view, for the government, should be the topmost priority. Let's take whatever is happening to environment today, AQI so high. Do you realize it is a silent killer on your children, silent killer on you? That worries me. Not that I can do anything. At that time, you ask me what worries me. What worries me? मैं तो लाइफ जिंदगी में वो होता रहा, चलता रहूँगा, करता रहूँगा. मैं तो अपनी I enjoy my life my way. And I do hope by my talking, by airing to, and do hope media joins me in bringing this factor that this must be set right for the better health of the country.
Oh, absolutely. All our children's lives depends on that. As you've said, you've lived your life by your rules, for taking out time, for sharing your learnings, your regrets, and for living life the way that you have, and for really setting an example for everyone who's watching. I'm inspired, and I'm sure others are too.
May I also give you a piece of advice?
Yes, sir.
You are going to be a hell of a golfer.
No,
My God.
I'm much more of a
Oh
tennis
my
player than a
God!
golfer.
I saw your 2-3 shots.
That's so sweet.
You have inbuilt hand-eye coordination.
That's very sweet.
So my advice you will be, you'll succeed more in life. Start playing golf also. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Delightful time. Thank you.
Thank you.